One other variant of sending emails is using scheduled send. When you compose a message, down the bottom, you have the big blue send button, but next to it, you have a little pull-down menu with send options. If you click on it, it'll show you an option called schedule send. And what that does allows you to indicate when you would like this particular email to go out. Instead of doing it immediately, you can actually indicate you want to send it in the morning or afternoon, tomorrow, or in my case here, it's just Monday morning. So it gives you a few choices that are coming up. And of course, down at the bottom, you have pick date and time, where you can actually select date and time when you would like to send this particular email. So you can specify whatever date you want, whatever time you want. So just type in 1 p.m. And then we click on schedule send button in the bottom right. And that's it. At this point, the message has been scheduled. Again, if we click on undo, we can go back and we can change anything we want, including the schedule to be a different date and time, or the message itself being different. But this is just an example of how you do the undo. We'll send it 26 at 1 p.m. And we click on schedule send. And now it's going to schedule it to be sent at that point in time. If you look at the list, different categories on the left side, you see there's one called scheduled. And if we click on scheduled, it'll show us that particular message right here. But the important thing to understand is that once we schedule something, we don't have to check it. It'll automatically go at that time. So one example I would say that would be useful is perhaps when you're sending emails and you want to make sure you never make mistakes, what you can do is you just schedule every email to go out perhaps an hour from now. That gives you much more than just a few seconds to change your mind later or edit the email before it actually gets sent. So that's kind of a good technique to consider, that if you don't have any emails that need to go immediately, automatically schedule them to go for an hour or 2 hours from now. And that way, if you change your mind for any reason or you want to augment it in any way, you can easily do so. So that's what scheduled send does. As a bonus today, let's talk about things you can do with your Gmail account. One thing you can do is you can put in periods in your email. So for example, in my email, I have my first name, my last name, gmail.com. And there's nothing wrong with that. And it works just great. Makes it easy to read because you have a dot segregating first name from last name. Well, what a lot of people don't know is this period doesn't have to be there at all. I can easily just use first name, last name. I can also easily put period anywhere I want, even have multiple periods. And the reason you might want to consider doing that is because Gmail itself doesn't care if there's any periods, it simply ignores them. So if you wanted to have email addresses have periods at different points, that would have some special meaning to you when they come back, because when people reply to email, it'll come back using the same email address as you used to send it with. And if that's the case, then you can actually tell that you're getting an email with period in this position or period in another position, which would be somewhat of a tell. If you used a certain format with certain group of people, then you would know that these people wound up sharing your email with somebody else because they're the only ones who get emails with periods being in that particular position. So the periods allow you to do two things. One, they allow you to track emails differently, very easily using the same exact email address. And the second thing is they allow you to be able to make emails look a little bit easier to read. Another thing you can do with emails, you can also add plus designations as prefixes. For example, I could put in an email address, putting in something like email, and then put in a plus service. This would actually work totally fine, no problem at all to use that kind of email address. But what Gmail is going to do is going to simply process email as if the plus part wasn't there. So the suffix gets totally ignored. But when people send you emails, you'll be able to see those emails coming back with these pluses, with these names. And then you can actually set up filters, something we're going to cover later in this course. And you're able to do something special with these particular emails that have these plus prefixes. And so it allows you to essentially generate any number of additional email accounts that are physically a single account, but they will look like they're a bunch of different accounts because they have this different name. And then you can actually take action based on whichever email address you're getting back as a reply. For example, if you're getting something plus service, you do something. If you're getting something that says plus support, you do something else. If you're getting something that says plus AP, you do something else. So you're using the same exact email address. They're all coming to the same place, but you're able to do something different with them depending on what the suffix is. And that's a very powerful and useful option to use with just a single email account. Now that we've learned the basics of sending emails, let's take a look at the flow and storage of emails in the next lesson.